Yes. What's up, shitheads? This is Ryan and Travis with episode 1 of Dudes Talking Shit.
Just dudes talking shit, man.
Just dudes talking shit. So tell me, who the fuck are you?
So my name's Travis. Are we doing last names? Yeah, I guess. Fuck it.
Sure.
Yeah, Travis Fanning. Look me up on social media. Grew up in Newfoundland, live in Nova Scotia now. Met my buddy working at a car dealership. Really involved in the automotive industry, personal hobbies, video games, dogs. Have a lovely fiance. You know, just pretty
Well, aren't you fucking fancy?
normal dude who talks shit.
What's your claim to fame? If you're in an elevator
Yeah.
and you're with and you have to sell yourself, but not like a business or a product. You have 30 seconds to sell yourself
Okay.
to somebody. Like why? Like you're desperate for friends or you're
Yeah.
desperate for camaraderie.
Okay.
Why would this guy or this lady or whoever's beside you? Why do you want them to be part of your life?
Did you write these questions down? Because this is very smart of you. These
I did
line of
did
questions.
write down what's your claim to fame. I did.
Okay, so I think my claim to fame, what I get poked fun at the most by maybe some of my Nova Scotian friends, is I'm very polite, I'm very friendly, and
Yeah, you are a polite guy.
I just like to hang out.
It's a Newfoundland in you.
I like to have a good time, and that's pretty much it. But I'm pretty low key. I keep a very small circle. I only like to hang out with a few people, and I talk an immense amount of shit with them. And I figured that maybe people might be interested in hearing what we have to say because I think we're normal people.
If you keep a small circle, do you like your worlds colliding, like your home and outside of work or play life, or work life?
Yeah.
Do you want that to ever meet up with your personal life, like, or your work life? Like, would you?
No,
How
I
many
hate
coworkers
it.
do you take around your actual friends or family?
None. You. But we're not even like coworkers anymore. We've moved so far beyond that. Yeah, but now like I don't consider you a coworker. Like you're just my fucking buddy.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, for the most part, like, and it's so weird because like we met through work and we became really good friends and we still hang out with people who we work with. But it's weird. I consider those like work gatherings. But like when me and you were spending time with like my friends, like people me and Stephanie hang out with or whatever, like I don't consider that introducing them to like a work buddy. It's like, no, this is just like, this is my buddy Johnny who, are you going to be Johnny or Ryan?
So I've got two names.
Okay. So let's turn it over to you. So first of all, let's get a backstory on the name situation.
Holy shit. So I have two names depending on what I'm doing that moment of the day or who I'm talking to. My name in my heart and that I introduce myself as when I'm meeting someone. Let's say I meet someone at a fucking grocery store or I don't know, I bump into somebody's car or I meet someone for the first time or whatever. I introduce myself as Ryan. That's my name. That's my fucking name. I am Ryan, okay? You got cootie virus over there?
Oh God, fuck.
Corona time?
Corona.
I am Ryan. That's who I am. But when I started at work, and I did work in the car industry, and a lot of on the sales side, a lot of what we need to do is people need to know us by name. Like if they're calling in a customer or whatever, or emailing, they got to know us by name. And there was already a guy named Ryan that was working there. He was quite well established, had been there for more than a decade, like had a pretty big customer base. Like everyone knew him as Ryan. He's Ryan.
Yep.
But I'm Ryan too. And I'm a different Ryan. And I'm just like, okay, well, we can't have two Ryans. So I decided to go by John. Just straight John. And that was
What?
Yeah, just
I
straight
don't
John.
know this part of the story.
No, man, I was just John for like 2 weeks, and then I don't know. I went up to greet somebody one time. I said, "Hi, I'm Johnny," and I don't know where it came from. I didn't like pull the old Jack Nicholson like, "Here's Johnny." I didn't do any of that. I just said, "Hi, I'm Johnny." And I've never called myself Johnny. I fucking barely even called myself John at that point. Maybe like we're talking like 10 times in my life at that point I'd ever introduced myself as John. And then all of a sudden Johnny came out. Anyway, everything went well with that interaction. I made a couple bucks off of it. And someone said to me afterwards that it just happened over here. They said, why did you call yourself Johnny? I said, I don't know. It just fucking happened. I didn't realize it the whole time. They started calling me, like, I didn't realize that I had said it until after, and they started calling me Johnny. And I'm like, hold on, where the fuck did you come up with this name? Anyway, it turned out that I did say it to them, and anyway, it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. And once it was on business cards, it was real.
Man, that's such like that is your claim to fame. Like that is the most funny fucking story, dude. Like just and it's so wild. Like when I found out your name was Ryan, like we were coworkers for like probably 3 or 4 months
At least, oh yeah.
at that point. Like I was like, no, man, this bro's name is Johnny. Yeah, very funny. That's fucking great.
It's fucked up because it made this whole other like alter ego of me where like Johnny is like a character. Like when I leave work, when I leave that dealership, unless I'm sending an email that's work related or on a work related phone call,
yeah.
I'm no longer Johnny. Like I'm like off the stage. You know what I mean? I exit stage left. Like now I'm Ryan. I'm not this guy anymore. I'm not this dude. And it's frigged up because I've gotten so good at it that it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like I'm a pro wrestler or something. You know what I mean? As soon as my music hits and I walk out,
yeah,
and the crowd reacts, except there's no crowd. There's usually fucking crickets. I just the gears change and I just become this other person that I like. You know me at work and you know me not at work. And I am like, although some personality traits carry over, I'm actually a different person.
Oh, like, entirely.
Like the brain still thinks Ryan thoughts when I'm there, but I just don't articulate it and I don't act it. Like my body language doesn't say, "Hi, I'm Ryan." Nice.
Well, it's funny, man. Like there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, obviously, but I think those of us that do the best at sales and those of us who have had the most success, and especially in like the car industry and stuff, it's like, man, you put on a fucking face when you get to work. Like I was trying to describe it to one of my friends the other day. Ever since I moved into like a different position where, you know, I handle money and more personal information, I started wearing suits to work. And he was like, why do you wear a suit? And, you know, do you wear a suit every day? Is it mandatory? And it's like, no, it's not mandatory. Like I don't have to wear a suit. Like that's not a rule at my dealership. But it's, you know, it's like kind of like putting on your costume.
Yep.
It's like if I was a clown, I ain't going out doing clown shit without my clown gear on, you know? So
then you're just a guy.
You're just a dude.
You're just a guy
weird.
that's probably getting some fucking phone calls by some like worried mothers.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, when you put that on, like you're going to work, you're putting on a different face, you're acting in a certain way. I know my coworkers love to razz me for my customer service voice, how high my voice gets when I talk to people. But it's just all a part of the act. Yeah. You know, you just want to be like, hey guys, thanks for coming in today. You know, you're really just trying to make sure they're having a fun experience, like they're having a good time, they're comfortable. And yeah, sometimes that's not necessarily being yourself, like with sales. I mean, because there's days you go to work and you're grumpy. And you don't actually one of your coworkers tries to have a conversation with you, and you're just like, no, fucking
going through the motions, like, yeah, fuck you. By the way, I'm having a great day, and how are you?
Yeah, and then a customer walks in, boom, it's fucking game time. Like you just gotta go.
If it wasn't like industry like standard, or if it wasn't, you know, what you've become, would you, if the culture was okay, would you wear like more casual clothing to work? Like if there was a thing like say every Friday, like some businesses do, where there's casual Friday. Some places they do this thing for charity where you pay $5, and you can wear jeans and, you know, just a button up or something professional, but not suit and tie professional.
Yeah.
Would you, or some of them you can just walk into your office, like if you're at an insurance brokerage or wherever the fuck you know paper you're pushing, you can just walk in on Fridays, pretty casual. Would you do that like all day, every day, if like that was more acceptable?
So I can answer this definitively. So a quick little backstory for anybody listening. Me and Johnny no longer work. We work for the same auto group. So the overall corporation, but we're at different stores.
We're at different brands now.
Yeah. We're not with each other anymore. So at my store, I think we should leave store names out of it. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like who we work for overall, maybe we'll leave out of it.
Well, that'll get leaked eventually, but you know.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll
when we're drunk or something.
But
for now, it's a fucking mystery.
It's a mystery. mystery. Until like one of our friends listen, and then just like in the comments, it's gonna be like they work at da da da. Here's the links. But yeah, so we're on to now. On Fridays we do a Gene Day,
Oh, shit.
and I pay my money. I pay my $5 to give to charity. I think we do it for like the IWK or something. Honestly, I don't even know. It could be actually to like killing stray cats. No idea. But yeah, just pay my $5,
Well,
but
it's
I
a
still
cat's
wear.
fucking problem for being stray.
That's right. I still wear my suit. I do not wear jeans. I think if someone's coming in divulging personal information to me about their finances, like I don't know. Me as a person, I probably wouldn't give a shit if I went in on front. If I went into someone's office at any point, they're wearing jeans. As long as they're professional and they act courteous and like genuinely engaged and they're doing a good job, like I don't care what they're wearing. But for me myself, I feel like I need to give off that image. Like I need to be in a suit
Okay.
all the time.
I think there's.
How about
I think it depends on the career that you have.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if I'm hiring a professional, and he's dressed kind of like a slob, because there's different perceptions. Like, let's say you're wearing a nice pair of blue jeans.
Yep.
There's nice blue jeans, and there's nice blue jeans that aren't very nice blue jeans. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude. Like that designer ripped up shit. Like
Yeah.
looks
Which,
ridiculous.
or even just something that's stonewashed, or I don't know if that's the right fucking word. Who am I?
Yeah.
But
No, I think so.
you know what I mean? The ones that are right, like faded in front, like something like I've got on right now, which for audio people, I'm just I'm wearing dark blue jeans, but they have like the fades on the thighs, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that almost looks like, okay, well, did the pants come like that? Because we're at that weird point where, did the fucking pants come like that, or have you just owned these pants? Because I'm a man and I have that wallet square in my back, you know. That's like, is that a natural fade? Is that like, so you're wearing like dirty old clothes that you've had for 10 years? Like
Yeah.
there's got to be a fine line, and I think that's a big part of why a lot of professional industries don't have they have a dress code, so you have to wear
Yeah.
certain things, because especially when you get into like the female side, what's appropriate and what's not
Oh.
in this day and age. Go
hard,
fuck
man.
yourself before you even speak up and try to say something about that. Go fuck yourself in a
Dude,
hurry.
dude.
It's just not worth those battles. Oh my god.
Oh, that's like man. So I worked at this one business, and there was a lady who worked upstairs, and she was in control of like, so basically anybody who doesn't know how dealerships work, there's a room upstairs, and you know, just being real, it is what it is. It's usually females who work there, and usually they're middle-aged, a little bit older. It's like an accounting office
Yep.
essentially. And man, this one fucking lady, like if any of the female salesperson people came in with like a low-cut top or like inappropriate, or what she deemed inappropriate, and that's so hard too, is like, who really know, like, do you know what I mean? It's a
Yep.
very odd time. And she would fucking like say the rudest shit. And it's so weird. It's like between like man to man or woman to woman, like you can kind of fucking say whatever. But like say if the person who's the general manager at the store, let's say he's a man, if he said that to the female employee that's below him about the inappropriateness of her clothing, it's kind of like, oh no, no.
Yep.
So yeah, it's hard, man. Like I think dress codes are important for that regard in business.
I think it has a little bit to do with the culture that you put off too. Because like let's say you walk into a Costco.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
go to Costco?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually worked at a Costco.
Yeah, you did. You worked at a Costco when I first met you, or you
did.
just left or something. You were doing
just
part time
left.
there or something,
Yeah.
something weird like that. So you know as well as I that like they don't really have fucking uniforms. They just have a name tag and a bib or a vest or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and so that depends too. Like the ones who have the vests are supervisors. Most people
Oh,
don't.
no shit.
Or they're like leads or whatever. But I actually worked in the tire center, so we had uniforms.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like we had, it was really like, man, this is one thing I will say 100% Costco did right. Because while I think a lot of people work there really enjoy it, and I can completely understand why, it pays great when you move up through. They have great benefits. Like they really take care of their employees. And especially for a lot of people who might not have a university or college education, or really don't have like they're good workers.
but they have no drive to take that next step. They're
got
just like they get complacent
That's right.
very
they,
quickly.
They can go there and make
That's
their,
kind of the vibe I got about that place.
yeah, they can go there and make their 50 grand a year. You know, they're going to be dependable. They're going to show up on time. They're going to put their time in. They're not staying late. They're not driving the extra mile.
Yep.
And the people who do in those stores move on to like very well paid management positions. But yeah, like at the Costco Tire Center, they gave you these uniforms and they were so professional and they look so good. And I legitimately think like other service departments.
So you're basically saying that the
dealerships
tire
should have
center
done
at Costco runs the place.
that.
They're the
No,
most
not at
professional
all.
looking people in the building.
Yeah, well, they are definitely. Because, I mean, man, there's something about a uniform like, I don't know. Those who don't conform, those who don't conform get left out in the cold. You know what I
Big
mean?
time.
Yeah, and I like that. I do like uniforms. I mean, I think it works in a lot of workplaces.
Do they wear uniforms at Walmart? Or is it just a
No.
vest?
No. Same thing, man. They dress the same way as Costco people. No different.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't picture a people at Walmart. So I thought they just wore a blue vest and then that was it. Walkie talkie.
Do they all wear blue vests though?
I don't know. I know like
Or is it just like again like
what is it
Lowe's
like
and
Best
Super-
Buy? They have the blue polos and khakis.
and it looks so good, right? So man, again, I worked at a Future Shop, and that was khakis and a dress shirt. They didn't have, which I do like the polos. I worked for a luxury brand, which you know we were somewhat colleagues at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to wear dress pants and a black polo. And man, so in that regard, I think that's a really professional look. Like if you look at some Lamborghini stores and stuff, they're trying to give you this, you know, person who's down to earth. They're connected. They're knowledgeable about the vehicles. I think when you go to buy a car like that, they want you to feel like that person has a mechanical understanding of the vehicle when they're selling it to you.
Yep.
It's not just like, you know, some dude with slick back hair and a $1,500 suit with a $4,000 watch on. They want it to be someone who's very passionate about the brand. And that's a look I do like. I'm super into the idea of like dress pants, nice belt, nice shoes, nice watch, and a nice branded polo shirt that's fitted.
Do you think that transfers over to other industries? So you're talking about like a luxury brand. You mentioned Lamborghini, and even if it's not luxury, but we're talking like, you know, some of the German 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to probably dress a certain way. They might have a Gucci belt, some polished shoes, nice seams in the middle or front of their pants. You know, they're probably wearing a blazer 99% of the time.
Yep.
Tie or no tie is optional depending on their look. You know what I mean? They're probably well shaven or well groomed.
Yeah.
And that's because they're dealing with that sort of clientele. If you transfer that over to other industries, let's take a lawyer for example. Let's say you're a huge criminal defense lawyer. Would a plaid button-up shirt and like you know, a pair of khakis, would that work? No. You got to be dressed. You got to be dressed to the nine. You've got to play the part for the clientele that you're dealing with.
And I mean, to like circle it all back, right? Like we come back to my thing with acting, putting on my suit, like, you know, you got to get into the role. And I think that's a part of it. Like, with lawyers, even more so than salespeople, like they really got to put on a fucking show.
Oh, big time.
Like they're not just trying to sell something to make some money. Like they, in some instances, can be defending somebody from death, like, you know, in certain parts of the United States.
Oh, big time.
Or like
Anywhere.
10 or 15 years in prison. Like
That'll do you in a lot of
100%.
places, depending on what your crime might be or what age you're already at, or if you have health issues going in or whatever the case is.
yeah. So yeah, I think and to loop it all back, like our industry's funny, and I think you'll find mine and Johnny's personality, Ryan's personalities are funny in that way. Like we're different people sometimes. Like sometimes we're acting, sometimes we're being really goofy, really silly, like having fun, and that's a different state for us. And then I think to kind of bring it all in, sometimes we're just like this. We're just chill, hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
Two dudes talking shit.
So just to finish that off, my outtake has always been you got to dress for the clientele that you deal with,
Yeah.
which I said. So it's I before I worked in the auto industry, I worked in the restaurant industry, and that's where the easiest example was probably. You can go with retail and clothing stores as well. They this example would transfer over there. If you look at a McDonald's, for example, once upon a time they wore a T-shirt, and they had the little tennis hat on, and they had like a pair of black pants.
Yeah.
Now they're wearing suddenly a polo shirt because the McDonald's has changed. You know, they don't always have the play centers and stuff. They've gotten this little McCafe thing going on. Like they're trying to upscale themselves a little. They added salad. Like I'm gonna go to fucking McDonald's for a salad. Who's went to McDonald's for a fucking salad? Like, sir, if you're getting something gross and you're getting like a little salad on the side, cool. But no one went out of their way. Oh fuck, I can't wait to get that salad. But anyway, look how they dress, and then look at like their general clientele in and out very quickly. They're probably staying in their car. I'm willing to bet a drive-through is probably busier than most like inside the stores, with the exception of obviously in like shopping centers and so on. But and you look at what they're dressed versus what they're selling to. They're selling to people with no shirt on. They're wearing tank tops. They're coming from the beach. They're doing whatever. They're fucking drunk on their way home in an Uber, whatever the case is. And then you go to like the next level up, which is like, let's say like a fast service dining, like a Roadhouse or something like
Montana's.
that. Yeah, like a Montana's, like a ribs and chicken sort of deal. Then all of a sudden they're wearing like just a little. They have their shirts are tucked in.
Yep.
They're wearing just a button up like plaid shirt.
Yep.
You know, I think that they wear jeans there, but like very like nice, or khakis maybe it is.
Yeah. No, like at Montana's, it's plaid button ups.
Yes,
Yeah,
which is perfect for like ribs and steak and chicken
that
barbecue
restaurant,
sauce sort of place, right? And then you look at the clientele that goes there. You don't go there straight after leaving the beach when you're wearing a tank top and shorts and whatnot. You probably don't wear shorts there, period. Even in the summer, like you probably put on a pair of pants to go to a place like that most of the time, unless it's like a very spur of the moment. But if it's like a date or something like that, even if it's someone you've been with for a while and you don't have to impress them anymore, you dress like somewhat nice to go to a place like that. Even if you're wearing a hoodie and jeans, you're wearing a nicer hoodie and a nicer jeans. You know what I mean?
Let me get my nice hoodie.
Right. So they're going to be dressed just a little bit nicer than you are, because they have to set themselves aside.
That's
And then
right.
you go to a place nicer than that. Like let's call it like a steakhouse, like an Outback,
Like a Keg.
or the Keg or something. All of a sudden they're wearing like a pressed white shirt.
Yeah.
They have I think bow ties or ties on. Like
They got ties. Yeah.
yeah, they have something like that going on, and they're like a little bit more professional. And when you go to a place like the Keg, you're probably not wearing that even nice hoodie or jeans. You're probably wearing like a button-up shirt. It may or may not even be tucked in.
Yeah.
But you're going to be dressing a little bit more professionally, and aesthetically pleasing in that side of things.
Yep.
And then you go up even higher than that. You go to like a 5-star restaurant where only reservations. They might even have a valet out front.
Yeah.
There's a guy in a goddamn tuxedo bringing you to your table and putting a menu in front of you. She is wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah.
And guess what you're wearing? You're probably wearing a blazer of some sort, or a dress if you're a lady.
You're still dressed down from them though.
Yes, you're a step
I
down
get
from
what
them.
you're saying.
That's how I believe that all customer service probably should be in anything. You look at like Walmart or Costco, like we were saying. You look at what they're wearing versus what the people are wearing. They're like, cool. You can't wear that tank top and shit and shorts to work. You have to dress a little nicer. Just one step higher. And then all of a sudden you go to the next step to I don't know, like an Old Navy or something.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you walk into an Old Navy and they're probably wearing Old Navy clothing, which a lot of it is, mid-level, nice. Yeah. It's not, flashing out there. You're not wearing a shirt that says anything vulgar on it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then but the customers totally can. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, just think about like how many times do I go to Costco in track pants? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Now I wear my nice track pants.
Yes.
But
The one with the firm cock outline.
that's right. I want people to see how impressively tiny my penis is.
Light switches turn on a lot of rooms.
But yeah, no, I think that's like a great like standard for customer service.
Yeah.
Is you should be dressed just a little bit better than your client. One thing while we were talking about it, bro, how bad do you miss going out for food?
Yo, I never realized how often I eat out. Like right now, this coronavirus is happening for anyone listening. It's not, if you're listening months and months from now.
May the 4th be with you, 2020.
Oh my God, I just put together that and you're wearing a Star Wars shirt, you fucking loser. Oh my God. But yes, dude, I never realized how often I eat out. Like I knew I got fast food pretty often because it's just easier, like when I'm at work or just grab something quick on the way home.
Yeah.
But I never realized how often I like ate out. And I'm telling you, I am going to have the grossest, juiciest fucking orgasm the first time I hear the words, "Can I start you off with an appetizer or a drink?" And they mean it. I'm gonna fucking bend at the knees, bro.
Oh, dude. Like, me and Fefe were talking about this the other day. And you know what? Like, not even just that. Like, I know there's a Mexican fusion place very close to your home, which
I tried to order from them yesterday because I know that they're open again.
Yeah.
And they were fucking closed on Sundays. What is this, like Chick-fil-A?
Bro.
Bullshit.
Dude, I think they're closed Sunday and Monday. But
That's today.
so myself and my fiance just recently moved. We used to live quite close to where this is. And we used to go to this restaurant all the time. Actually, I can just say it. There's so many of them in the city, Habaneros.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we developed this relationship with the guy who worked there, and it was great. So every single Friday, this was our routine. You know, we worked. I worked late on Fridays. I'd get off work, go home, get changed. We'd go out right away to our local Habaneros to get some burritos. They also do like burgers and fries there. It's like Habaneros cheese curds. And yeah, like that's just, that in itself has been a bummer. Like I have a relationship with the person who works at that restaurant, but the only way I see them is that's my frequent. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like kind of a bummer. Like, you still want to see those people, like, but I don't really have any other forms of communicating with this person. Like, I don't know if he's okay. Like, do you know what I mean? And I hope that person is doing well, like, during all this. But yeah,
I know I'm the same way. They just opened again last week for like delivery and takeout only. And let me tell you, where they're located, there's no such thing as they don't have their own delivery drivers. They have to use like Skip the Dishes and DoorDash and stuff. Yeah. And because there's so few restaurants in this general area,
they're slammed.
Oh my god, it takes forever to actually get something. So it's a takeout place exclusively right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
but I haven't missed a Taco Tuesday in years. I go to either Taco Bell or I make nachos, quesadillas, tacos, whatever myself, or I go there and get a burrito bowl, which is my go-to. And I'm telling you, I've been dying without having like them. Like I'm definitely going to be maxing my credit cards, getting tacos as soon as everything kind of gets back to normal. Like I might go to Taco Bell and actually drop $100 and legitimately hate my life instead of just pretend hating it.
Man, yeah, it's been like weird. I don't know. I'm craving a dining out experience. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yep. Especially now that it's getting warmer and it's a patio season.
I know.
Like, oh my god, I never realized how much I love having just a beer or a cocktail or an old fashioned.
Oh man, there's
outside.
There's nothing better than like sitting on a patio, hanging out with your buddies, like listening to fucking music, shooting shit, enjoying a few drinks. Like,
but the seagulls can fuck right off and get away from my French fries. That can still happen. I don't miss that. That's one thing I still don't miss. Give this another 6 months of this weird world, and I might be like, fuck, I just want a seagull to try to take my chicken finger.
Man, no joke. Okay, so one time I'm from Newfoundland, so we were in a small community in Central Park, and there was a McDonald's there, and in the parking lot, they had a fucking serious sign. This was a serious sign. I'll have to dig this picture up for you at some point. We took a picture of me with the sign, and it's quite funny. But a sign that said, "Do not feed the seagulls. They become aggressive towards children." I was like, what the fuck is going on out here? Like, who bred these angry seagulls? But yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Seagulls are dicks, man.
Fuck them all.
Yeah.
Seriously.
They're horrendous.
Have you ever heard that conspiracy that people think that birds are just drones from the government?
Yes, man.
And they're using this whole quarantine thing as an excuse to change the batteries?
There's a fucking kids movie about that right now.
Seriously?
Yes.
A kids movie?
Spies in Disguise.
Oh, how do you know this?
Because I follow the actor Tom Holland because I like Marvel movies. And I like Tom Holland in general. He's pretty funny. His social media is great. And yeah, like he's one of the voices for this animated film.
I never fucking heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't watch cartoons. I don't watch anything animated. So maybe if the ad was in front of me 50 times over the past week watching TV or anything like that, it still would have went in one ear and out the other because I've never been into cartoons. I think
When you
What-
were a kid, though?
When I was a kid, there was a handful. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, like I liked the old Batman, the Warner Brothers Batman cartoon
Oh,
back in the day.
bro.
That was my jam. That was my jam. I never really cared about some of the, like a Darkwing Duck. I fucking loved that at the time.
Yep.
I tried watching it on YouTube maybe 6 months ago for just to reminisce, and I couldn't. It was just stupid.
Man, that's really funny that you said that. So I recently got Disney Plus, and which is even funnier because there are some animated shows that I enjoy today as an adult. Like I just finished the last episode of Star Wars Clone Wars, came out this morning, and 7 seasons of it. It was really cool. It was a really cool storyline. I really enjoy Star Wars, and it was cool to get like that backstory to an era. And but you could really see that at the beginning of the show, it was like, oh, we're making a show for kids. But by the end of
There's
the
a
show,
Star Wars TV show.
dude, there's like 5.
I thought there were just 6 movies.
No,
And then
no.
like a couple of different ones that came out like recently that were are those real Star Wars movies that keep coming out? I hear about every
Yeah,
year or two. Those aren't like spin-offs or whatever.
Well, okay. So there's
Who
like
makes Star Wars? Is it George Lucas?
Disney.
No, but I mean like
Oh yeah.
It was-
But not anymore.
he has nothing to do with it.
He's coming back.
Okay.
But for the 3 or the 5 most recent movies, no.
There's 5 more recent ones.
Yep. So there's 3 more in the Skywalker trilogy that tie into the first 6. And then there's 2 that still tie into those trilogies, but they're called Star Wars stories.
Okay.
They're not anthology films. So one was about Han Solo when he was young, and the other was like how the beginning of the trilogy started.
So I've never seen a Star Wars movie in my
No
life.
way.
If you add up all of like other than commercials and maybe like a movie trailer or something,
Yeah.
I've maybe seen 5 minutes of Star Wars in my life.
No way, dude.
I could probably tell you who half the characters are just from like, you know, pop culture and like just general knowledge and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't know the storylines at all. The thing is with me when it
Do
comes
you
to
know who Luke Skywalker's father is?
yes, it's Darth something other because that's an old fucking a saying that everyone fucks up. It
Not
doesn't
Darth
say
Vader, it's Chad Vader.
Chad. Fuck Chad. But he doesn't say Luke, I'm your father. You know that, right? That's not
Yeah,
what he says.
yeah,
He says no, I'm your father.
I am your.
Which is fucked up because everybody knows the saying Luke, I'm your father, but he doesn't say that.
I know. Yeah, dude. That's like one of the
Which
most.
I hate the fact that I fucking know that.
Because it's fucking on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, but I think I've known that for at least 10 plus years.
Yeah.
At least that I've known that. Maybe I didn't know that it was the word no, but I knew that it wasn't Luke.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like, oh fuck, what are those?
When you think one thing, but it's actually the other.
Like Berenstein.
Yes, it's called the
Berenstain.
Mandela effect, is what it's called.
Mandela.
Yeah.
Yeah. Explain to me, Johnny, what is the Mandela effect?
So I don't know. I might fuck this up a little bit, but I think it's called that because most people like when these like revelations started like happening, they mostly spread because of social media. So it's relatively recent sort of thing. They determined it to be called the Mandela effect because most adults, and I don't mean young adults in their 20s and 30s. I'm talking like mid to late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. If you ask them when Nelson Mandela died,
Boomers.
they could, yes, exactly. They could tell. They'll tell you that it was quite a while ago. Like we're talking like the 80s or something. They'll tell you that's when Nelson Mandela died. They won't tell you that it just happened in 2013 or fucking whatever it was. It was relatively recently anyway.
Yeah.
Within the past decade, I'd say. But they believed that it's been years and years. But he didn't die years and years ago. It's been fairly recently.
Dude, it's very funny actually because I even remember, I don't know quite when it came out,
But hold on, that Berenstein Bears thing, it's fucking Berenstein Bears. I know that it ain't, but it is, okay?
Wait,
I
wait.
fucking remember that shit, man.
Is it actually Stain, right? Is what?
Yes, and I heard something, I don't know the whole through and through about it, but it was something along the lines of Steen is like a German word, so after the war, they changed it to stain because of the blood that stained the clothing of the members of military or whatever.
But
I don't
how
know,
the fuck
maybe
would
I'm
we
fucked
know
up with that.
Berenstain?
I don't know.
We wouldn't know because we were born long after the end of the Second World War. Just in case anybody was confused out there. Just the fact this is like such our age group thing, like podcasts. But yeah. No, I don't know. It's fucked. I definitely remember his Berenstein Bears too. Like I don't remember Stain.
Because those were, they weren't the first book I ever read, but they were probably like 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way up to maybe 20. Or, I learned how to read because of Berenstain Bears.
Man, do you know what's funny? One thing I've never done. So my mom and dad would have read me those books when I was like, very small, like kindergarten age. I should ask my parents, be like, hey, what are those fucking books about those bears? What were those bears called? And if they say Berenstein Bears, right? Is how you remember it.
Well, that's how everyone remembers it, yeah.
Yeah, and if they say Berenstain, that's it. It's all fucking conspiracy.
It's fucked up because maybe not so much in our age group because it's not a hobby that anyone does anymore. Yeah. But there's one of them is like a hot air balloon memory.
Yeah.
That if you show someone a picture of like basically like I don't know, it's something like if you show someone a picture of a hot air balloon ride from like up there in the hot air balloon or something, and there's like a baby in the picture or a very young child that looks like it could be you.
Yeah.
And you say this was you in the hot air balloon at a county fair or whatever in when you were 2 or 3 years old or 1 year old or whatever, they'll remember that. They'll suddenly have these fake memories that aren't real, but they'll believe that, oh my God, I was in that hot air balloon. I have a picture to prove it, and I have a memory, like it's my earliest memory. All of a sudden, I remember being in a hot air balloon, but you've never even fucking seen one in real life.
Dude, have you ever seen a hot air balloon in real life?
Not one that was in the sky. I saw one in a field one time getting inflated or whatever still. But it never took off.
That is not a
I've seen a blimp one time though.
Oh, no fucking way.
Yeah. Just above the Rogers Center or the Sky Dome in Toronto. There was like, I think it was a Goodyear blimp.
Was that during WrestleMania?
No. It was during a Blue Jays game.
Yeah, I guess WrestleMania would have been in April. The roof would have been closed.
It happened on March 17th, 2002. And the roof was indeed closed.
Does WrestleMania change year to year, or is it always in March?
It's always somewhere between mid-March and early April. It's in that like 2 to 3 week period, let's call it.
Gotcha. Man, so fucked on the WWE that they went ahead with WrestleMania. They were just like,
I thought it was stupid.
Fuck it.
I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, so are they still doing 2 shows a week right now?
Yep. I feel like a good chunk of them. Actually, they're doing more than that because there's other ones that no one really watches. The ratings are kind of low and all that. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of them were pre-recorded. I think I heard that they were recorded like weeks ago, and because there was
did a pile of them.
Right, and because there was no crowds or anything like that, like results haven't leaked out. But because of obvious budget cuts with a lot of businesses, they were hit with it pretty bad because they overpay a lot of people, and when there's suddenly no income coming in from fans buying tickets and extremely low ratings and so on, blah blah blah, people losing their own jobs and whatnot, can't afford to pay for merchandise, whatever the reasons are, they've had to cut. I want to say over 50.
But do you think their viewership is up on cable right now?
No, it's down. In fact, this past week has been the lowest period ever since 1992 when Raw started. They or 93, whenever it was, they had their lowest episode of rating ever this past week. Ever out of a non-holiday episode. Sorry, because a lot of the holiday episodes are just complete bullshit, and no one really watches them because they're with their own families or whatever. And I don't think the TiVos or DVRs or PVRs, whatever you call it, I don't think those count as a view. Like if you're not,
definitely would.
I don't think they do. Maybe they do.
They have to.
But the problem is, like, when do you watch that? What if you never actually watch it? What if you just delete the recording? I don't even know how they get ratings. How do they get that?
I don't know.
Because like in the world of nowadays, when everything's like all on digital cable or satellite or
they have to know
whatever, it's super easy now. But back in the day, ratings were still a thing. How did they know when it was all analog TVs that you just plug into your wall? And that was it. How did they know who was watching what and the age demographics? That's the other thing.
There's a formula. I'm not fucking reading any further. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I'm sure. Yes, today they have from digital technology. They can probably tell you right down to the number, like who watched.
But what about age demographics? Like if you know that you're in this, say, 18 to 30, I don't know what the age range is, but how do you know that that it's people between X and X age that are actually watching it? How do you know that?
Well, there's multiple people in the household. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, how do you know it's like the young son watching it, or it's not the mom watching it. Do you
Right.
know what I mean? I don't know. That's very interesting though. Kind of to loop around on the same topic, how do you think UFC is going to do this weekend?
They don't have a crowd, right?
Yeah. But I mean, pay-per-view.
Which is weird because I think Florida came out, and this is happening in Florida, the May 9th pay-per-view.
The next 3 cards are in Florida.
Right. And Florida has come out and said that they're going to allow, still maintaining social distancing,
Yeah.
but they're going to allow fans to attend sporting events. So that means every seat won't be filled. I don't know how like the algorithm's going to end up working, or if it's just like, if it's going to be still like very small crowds, like we're talking, like something crazy like that. I don't know how the whole system's going to end up working, but I feel like I don't know. For something like the UFC, in my opinion, the crowd doesn't make it better or worse.
Yeah, the crowd's like pretty.
Like as long as there's like a very small crowd, as long as you have the commentators, which at least with such an active sport like that, the commentators are there's constantly someone that you can hear, that you don't have to hear the crowd. You know what I mean? Between having 2 to 3 commentators,
Yeah.
and then you can hear the corners yelling stuff. I think that alone makes it watchable. Like look at like the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
They get along just fine, and for the first while there was nobody in the room. There was the other fighters, and like that was pretty much it.
Corners, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Like was there even commentary for like the weekly episodes? There was for like the
There
finals.
still isn't.
They still don't do that, eh? No. So hey.
Hey.
But no, but for real, I don't think that they obviously monetarily, and not only to pay the fighters, they need merch sales and ticket sales and all that. But I don't think that sport needs a crowd for the at home on the couch viewing experience.
No. And man, I really don't believe that the UFC's main stream of revenue is fucking from seat sales and fucking merch sales. Their revenue stream is pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And all their spin-off stuff. Like, they're probably generating more money through their fucking Dana White looking for a fight YouTube show than they do off of UFC. Like, especially, like, not a huge card. Like, it's different when you're talking, like, McGregor at fucking MSG or whatever. Like, obviously, that's a massive moneymaker. But still, I bet the bulk of your money there is pay-per-view sales, like, 100%. But I think more so what I'm wondering is, like, how do you think they're going to do pay-per-view buy-wise?
I don't know, because here's the weird thing. Although, like, for fight fans, you're very excited because of the main event. Well, for the whole card, actually. For actual fight fans, the whole card looks stacked enough that'll interest you. But other than when I'm scrolling on Instagram, because I happen to follow a lot of fight-related things,
Yeah.
and if I'm not listening to Joe Rogan talk,
Yeah.
I have not heard or seen one thing show up for this. Exactly. Nothing. I haven't seen a commercial for it. I haven't had like even like things like random ads that pop up on your computer on the sides of things and whatnot. I haven't seen literally nothing. There's been no marketing other than Facebook that I've seen. I haven't seen it. I still watch TSN and all that and ESPN, and I still watch that. And yet, other than like maybe like a 2-second thing pop up down at the bottom that says May 9th or whatever, I have not seen anything. So I think between the fact that you don't have the names on that card, like I'm talking like the big crazy sellout names like a George St. Pierre or like Conor McGregor or even Daniel Cormier. You know, you don't have Brock Lesnar. You don't have any of those big names. John Jones, exactly. I don't think. I don't know.
So
I don't know how it's going to sell.
Let's say, for example, not that we're you're not allowed to have more than 5 people in a room.
Right.
Right? You have to maintain social distancing. The majority of fight fans, when they're watching a fight, like, you get together with a group of your friends and you go in on the pay-per-view together. So I think what's really going to happen with this virus and what you're going to see is it's going to eliminate the casual fan. Like, even if me and you could not get together, like, we're still watching the fights.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a great card. You can't fucking miss this card. Like, it's so good. Double championship headliner. And really, I mean, in Tony Ferguson, I think you have the rightful champ. I think he beats Khabib. And
Fuck, are we ever gonna see that?
I don't think, man.
I'm wondering too.
I've completely lost. Do you know what? And I think you were
Regardless
in
of
the
the
same boat.
outcome next weekend when this happens, like they won't be able that fight. Let's say because the fight doesn't make sense anymore if Ferguson loses.
To Gaethje, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make that much sense. But let's assume that he wins.
Sure.
And this is for an interim title, right?
Yes.
So let's say he has that championship.
Yeah.
Then he has to go against the champ.
Yeah.
Well, that champ happens to be Muslim,
Right.
and he's going to be practicing Ramadan soon. Whenever that fucking
I
starts.
think it started. Yeah.
Oh, did it start? I don't know. It's sometime real soon if it didn't already.
So it really, for Khabib, it messes up his training.
Oh,
right?
fuck. He can't do shit for training. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, when he's trying to regain all that strength and what he's lost from not being able to like fully train.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to go through a whole camp. So it's going to be like fall minimum
back.
before that fight comes back. And like that opens up so much time for other bullshit to happen.
Dude.
And you know what I mean? They a lot of experts are saying this corona thing might circle back around and have like a second string of string of attacks. And if that ends up happening again in the fall or the early winter, then that could fuck things.
Well-
Injuries could happen.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, man. Like Tony Ferguson's injury prone.
I will
My God.
never forget or forgive
Oh,
not this time, but the last time the fight was called off, how I called that.
why don't you tell the story, Johnny?
This is fucked up. So I think I want to say this was like just a couple of days before that fight was going to happen. So fights are always on Saturdays. This was on
This was
a Thursday or Friday.
This was Friday after weigh-in, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Everybody was on weight. Tony was doing media.
So I'm just simply trolling Travis. That's when we still work together. So I was just trying to troll him and get his goat going by saying that the fight is off. And he said, "What the fuck happened?" He's panicking, like he's sweating. His voice is getting all high pitched. He's like, "Johnny, what are you talking about, Johnny?" And I'm like, "You'll never believe it. He was at a TV station doing an interview, and he tripped over a goddamn camera cable and somehow didn't catch himself right and tore his ACL and blew out his leg. And now he's gonna be out. He can't fight." And anyway, we looked it up. It was complete bullshit. And this happened early in the morning when I had said this. This was, let's call it 9 or 10 a.m.
It was, you fucked with me during our morning sales meeting.
Okay, so that would have been between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning that I made this bullshit story up. Well, news broke at, let's call it 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon.
No,
4.
It was a little bit later.
It was because it was only
it was-
a handful of hours.
It was after weigh-ins,
Okay,
but
so
not ceremonial weigh-ins. It was before ceremonial weigh-ins, but after, like, the real weigh-ins.
so with our time zone, that would have been between what, noon and 8 p.m.
Yeah, like it would have been towards the end of our workday, so probably around like 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay, so I make up this absolute nonsense, ludicrous story. Like, what kind of guy randomly trips on a television, like a microphone or a camera cable, and blows out his knee? Like, how does that happen? How many times in history has that ever happened? And what are the odds that it happens to that guy that
An
day?
elite athlete.
Yes, exactly. To a guy that probably has pretty good balance in getting thrown off and whatnot. You know what I mean? He's taking leg kicks and all this shit. And so I make up this absolute horse shit story just to get Travis going. And obviously it gets squashed. It's not true. It didn't happen. And he's just like kind of edgy with me. He's like, fuck, why would you say that? And it's like, God damn it. Well, a couple of hours later, like just a few hours later, it fucking happens. Dude, is there a possible way that I caused that? Like in some
Never
weird
been
like
more upset with somebody.
that me too. I don't know what the hell happened. Like, how do you come up with that? Oh, I tripped on a television, like a camera cable and blew out his leg. And then it fucking happens.
Dude, this, like, oh my God.
Like, there's predictions.
Like, every time.
and then there's that. Like, the odds of that. Like, that, okay, you pick
None.
you pick
It's
the
none.
person, you pick the person, you pick the day, you pick the way that it happens. I think the odds of that happening are literally, you could win 5 lotteries before you could ever pick that again
Do you
twice.
know what we should do one night soon? We should play Clue, and you just guess it right off the top.
I've never fucking played Clue.
Clue's so fun.
Dude, I'm not a board game guy.
Oh, Clue's the best. It's so silly. But looping back, this fight's never gonna happen. Like, just think about this situation. The fucking earth has begun to reject us, is how much the universe does not want those two gentlemen to fight each other.
Absolute acts of God.
It's fucking madness, dude. Like, I don't understand what needs to happen for this fight to work. Like, yeah, I think we're just at a point where it's just, you know what? Leading into this one, I had very little faith or commitment to it. Like, I was like, it's not happening. Like, you can promote it all you want. Like, unless you had the two of them there the day you announced the fight, and you're like, they're fighting each other, like, right this second. It's not fucking happening. Like, it's just not happening. And another thing, like, a lot of people are talking about Khabib, Tony still. But Justin Gaethje's a killer, man.
Oh, big time.
He's a lunatic, and like you know, I feel like Tony Ferguson's claim to fame is people get in deep water with him. Tony takes him to really weird places. He's really uncomfortable to fight. He's really aggressive. Yeah, Gaethje is all those things as well. He is an absolute madman. Like, you know, he'll run you down. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he ran in on Cowboy. Like, the dude couldn't punch. It's, I don't know. Justin Gaethje's a whole nother thing as well. But I think, unfortunately, Gaethje's not the guy to beat Khabib. And Tony got it. Now Tony has this, like, huge test of, like, this person who completely matches up well with him style-wise. Whereas I think Khabib does not match up well style-wise with Tony. Like, I think Tony has the right tools to
He's
beat
durable, too.
100%. He's durable. I think he hurts Khabib. I don't think, like, saying a fighter doesn't like getting hit, or saying anybody doesn't like getting hit.
Who the fuck does?
Nobody likes getting hit.
I don't care who you are. If you're a fighter, you're a tough guy, whatever, and you say, you know, this is what we do. I love getting hit. It's part of our sport. It's part of my life, whatever. Bullshit. You like doing the hitting. You probably get off doing the training. You know what I mean? But when it comes to, like, the hard spars and the actual fights and you're getting punched, yeah, no. Hold on. You can put on this front all you want, but you're secretly like, fuck, that sucked.
Sucks. Yeah. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I say that, but then in some of their cases, the monetary payoff is probably well worth the punches in the face.
Hell
But
yeah.
you didn't like that punch. Like,
No.
I will get in the ring and I will fight Floyd Mayweather for $100 million.
yeah.
I'll do it for $8 million. What
yeah.
the fuck is happening in the background? A chainsaw?
That's your landscapers.
But I would do that for X amounts of money. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I haven't had those amounts of money before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm very willing to go through a little bit more right now than some others. And I think that you see that'll happen all the goddamn time in sports. I think Mayweather actually might be just the only example where it doesn't. He never
kept that commitment to the
he
game.
he kept that commitment. He never kind of fell off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, old age slowed him down a little bit and this and that, but he still did it the best in the world. I don't think he fucking sandbagged anything. I think he might have sandbagged that McGregor, you know,
For the first few
whatever
rounds.
exhibition fight or whatever that was, because it doesn't go on any official records.
No, that was pro fight. That
Oh,
went
was
on his
it?
record. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no
what
shit.
made him 50-0. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think Tony drags Khabib into some places that Khabib doesn't want to go.
Yeah, big time.
I don't think Khabib. Does he take Tony down? Yes.
Oh, big time. He'll definitely take him down.
Does he?
He'll definitely
keep
hurt
Tony
him.
down? No. I think Tony gets up. Like, if he gets taken down by Khabib, I think Tony gets out.
Or he figures out a way to just win off his back.
100%. Man, Tony's so fucking dangerous.
That's
He's
what
so
I mean.
good. But Pettis Cowboy is an interesting fight. And
What do you think about Cowboy finally coming out the other day and saying he wasn't into the McGregor fight? He wasn't feeling it 2 days before. He didn't even want to go through with it. And I don't know. I've been a huge Cowboy fan for ages.
Yeah.
Since he was dating Brittany Palmer. That's how long.
What a stud.
Oh my God! And the fact that
He's a
relationship fell
fucking
apart.
hero.
But anyway, I've been a Cowboy fan for so long, and he's never been one to come up with excuses. I don't feel like he's always been like a fighter's fighter, like he's in there to fight. But this is feeling like a bit of a bullshit excuse that's suddenly happening months later. Like, when did that happen? That happened January 18th. We're sitting here May 4th, so 4 months later.
May the 4th be with him.
Fuck. We're 4 months later, and now he's finally coming out and saying that he wasn't feeling it. He didn't really want to be there. He was just kind of going through the motions.
So here's my feelings on Cowboy. I feel like Cowboy, man, it's so hard to say this about him. Just to, like, make sure the record is very straight first. I adore that human being.
Absolutely.
I think he is a fucking hero of the sport, and he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Like, he's going to go down as probably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time to never win a belt.
Yep.
And it's really,
it's still
really
going that way.
unfortunate. He's never going to win a belt.
He can't go up and win. I don't think he can. I don't think he can't win. I don't think he's going to win at lightweight.
He cannot go
can't
to 45.
Oh, he can't go
die.
down that far. He can't. I don't think he wins the belt at welter.
No, he'll never have a belt. And
Nope.
it's really, really sad.
Time is against him right now.
I don't even think, man, he never had the WEC belt either, did he?
I actually never.
I
watched.
feel he lost that fucking fight against Mike Brown, I think, because he had a shot at the WEC title as well, and I'm pretty sure that's who he lost to. Hold on, I just gotta look it up really quick. Fact check myself.
Yeah, he's a very exciting fighter. I like the way he walks at people. He's got a cool look to him. You know what I mean? He's very tall. He's got those long arms. He obviously had the character with the cowboy hat going, and people bought into it. He's genuinely a nice guy.
Yeah.
From I don't know him face to face or anything like that, but he's always come across as a good guy and a hard fighter. But anyway, what did you come up with WEC?
Yeah, so he had 3 title shots in WEC.
Squandered them all.
Yep, Jamie Varner and Ben Henderson twice. And I think he's alluded to a little bit more later in his career, and I think talking about this McGregor thing is one of it. I think he's talking about the very real reality of like the pressure of being a professional prize fighter or just being a professional athlete in those situations, like what they're feeling going into it. Like when he was going into that fight with McGregor, like that's it, man. You made it. Like that's the biggest fight of your career, and go out and get fucking demoed.
What would have even meant for his career if he won that fight? Like, let's say he didn't lose in 40 seconds, whether he won by KO, TKO, he won by submission, or he won by unanimous decision, or
Sure. I think for Cowboy, what it would have done is it would have put him to that legendary status.
You think it would have though?
100%.
Beating a guy that had been off for almost 2 years, came back, got the shit kicked out of him once,
Like a Khabib, yeah.
and then that was it. A guy that like everyone else kind of thought just gave up.
I think it puts him on that Diaz level. Like, just like this hardened fucking veteran badass who's a fucking legend. He wins some, he loses some. He gets in there, though. He always fucking toughs it out. He's always gritty. He has this hard mentality. He can hang with the best of the best. I think it would have further created that legend. And I mean, like, he's a legend anyways. But yeah, and man, I'm really getting to the point with Cowboy where I'm completely okay
With him walking away from it.
with him fucking hanging her up. If he beats the living shit out of Pettis, like the worst fucking whooping you've ever seen, and he fucking takes the gloves off and lays him in the center of the ring, like applaud to a fucking excellent career. And that would be I would think that would be a storybook ending. Like, I don't ever want to see him on a fucking main event pay-per-view ever again, because every time he's in those situations, man, he fucking cracks.
He folds. Yeah.
Every fucking time. And then you'll see him, like, if that Conor McGregor fight was like the first fucking fight of the night, he just would have walked out and murdered McGregor because there's no fucking pressure.
Yep.
Like, do you know what I mean? I think if him and Khabib are not names, and he fights Khabib on the opening round of a fucking fight night, he murders him.
How many fights are normally on a pay-per-view? 5? 6?
Oh, on a pay-per-view.
Just on the pay-per-view. So what if they were to do like a crazy show, especially after this Corona thing, when they can have like full crowds and all that, and they have 5 belts on the line on the pay-per-view?
Oh, bro,
how do you think that plays out, and how much ego comes into who gets what spot?
I think we're gonna get a couple of triple champ headliners for sure at the end of this. I think the first big audience one, like maybe at MSG or back at T-Mobile, is gonna be a triple champ. Okay, so I mean, number one rule is if John Jones is on the card, he's the headliner.
Yep.
There's no dispute there.
What if McGregor has a belt by the time this whole thing can happen?
He won't.
What if?
He won't.
All right. No, but what if he was a champion and they had a 5
Sure,
championship?
yeah. He
You
would
think,
go above John.
you think so?
He's bigger than John.
Oh, yeah.
There's no dispute for that. But yeah, I mean, like in reality,
No, he's
John-
not. He's not. I don't think Connor will ever
John
have
is
another
your
gold belt.
headliner. But then after that, man, I think like in terms of ranking for popularity of champions, it's John's number 1. Then it's probably Khabib.
But do you think Khabib
It's-
was? Are you putting Khabib as number 2 as a fight fan or as a casual fan?
Popularity. Yeah, casual fan.
You think he'd be still number 2?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I don't think he is anywhere near there because the simple thing that you can't say his name, Nurmagomedov. People
Nurmagomedov.
can't say that fucking name.
But yeah, but people just call him Khabib.
Yeah, but if I were to just walk up to some schmuck walking their dog down the street and say, "Hey, do you know who Conor McGregor is?" Yes, or if I were to start the conversation, "Do you know who Khabib is?" What? Do you know
Yeah,
do you know who the fighter Khabib
dude,
is? The 155 champ?
Most people don't know John Jones either.
Really?
No. Okay, so think about this. Like,
I think the bullshit
so-
that he did
so they-
caused everyone to know him.
so they don't know Khabib, right? Do you think they're going to know fucking Kamaru Usman?
No,
Are they going to know Israel Adesanya?
absolutely not.
Weili Zhang?
No,
Fucking Amanda Nunes? Stipe Miocic?
probably no.
No. So I think like the reality of it is for your headliners, it goes John Jones is number 1, then it's Khabib, then it's probably Amanda, then it's probably Stipe, then Izzy, then Kamaru.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, and then like who? Fucking Chuck Liddell? Would GSP? Maybe, but maybe as GSP, but not George St. Pierre.
Yeah, I think GSP is close to them. I don't think he's on their level and same with Anderson.
I mean, his
Silva.
initials is
Yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
well known than what his name
I
is.
get what you're saying. Yeah, I think GSP and Silva just fall out of that. McGregor, Rousey, and Lesnar are on a level of their own.
Yep.
And then after Silva and GSP, then I think you have like Chuck and Tito.
And even that's starting to die off because
And Ken
they've done
Shamrock.
fuck all. Like they had their little fight there a year ago or whatever. But
Yeah.
like that was like no, that was where did you even watch that on the internet or something? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't on TV that in most of the world. I think maybe in America it was available on one of their stations, but
Yeah.
the rest of the world couldn't watch that live unless you were hijacking some sort of pirated system.
Yeah.
But so because they don't do anything anymore in the public eye, their names are starting to drop off too.
yeah.
Like it's fucked up how only a handful of MMA fighters, which is probably the second largest sport on the planet, followed by only football or soccer, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know, man. Baseball's pretty big. And cricket.
Yeah, but I think soccer's bigger.
Oh, dude, soccer's the
So
biggest,
I
no
think
doubt.
that I think soccer is straight up the second most popular thing on this planet, followed by or only oxygen is number 1. You need it to live. That's cut and
soccer.
simple.
Yeah.
And then soccer. Soccer is above shelter, food, or water. Because look at some of those very poor places. They will play fucking soccer with a goddamn rock, and they haven't eaten in a week other than maybe a half a cup of rice. They have no clean water. They have no clothes in their back other than what they found at a dump.
And they're playing fucking soccer.
Exactly. And
It's an
and it's like that
inspiring
across the
sport,
whole
man.
world.
Yeah.
But it's weird how it never caught on in North America as a big grand thing. Like, don't get me wrong, they have the MLS and they have some other smaller leagues.
it's not the same.
But no, it's not, and it's fucked up because if you talk to most kids, not everyone, don't get me wrong,
Yep.
they played soccer as kids.
I played 10-bit soccer, man.
Yep, everyone played soccer as kids and maybe into high school, and soccer sticks with women through high school and into colleges and whatnot. Women will still play soccer
Yeah.
at a much higher percentage than men will.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up thing, and then it just dies off. It's not on TV. But
Def-
out of all sports, other than maybe female MMA, out of all sports, period, out of curling, baseball, basketball,
Yeah.
the only sport that's actually competitive to watch women play, and this is gonna sound so fucking bad, is soccer. Other than MMA, because that's its own thing, right? But
Dude, that's another thing. Like, and, I don't know how much it's been talked about, but MMA gets like a really bad rap sometimes. Like people
human cockfighting.
100%. But man, I truly believe it's the first sport to truly offer equality in pay. Like
Yep.
Ronda Rousey made more money than 95, probably more than that. Probably 99% of all MMA fighters, Ronda Rousey made more. Probably 99.99% of all MMA fighters, she made more money than. And there's a lot of like Amanda Nunes makes $500,000 a fight.
Yep.
John Jones makes $500,000 a fight. If you're a champ, you're a champ. You make $500,000. Doesn't matter if you're male, doesn't matter if you're female. Now, if you have the popularity of Conor McGregor,
They might have some more bargaining tools that can get like pay-per-view
negotiate
buys.
bigger deals. Ronda Rousey could negotiate bigger deals because she was bringing in the numbers to justify that additional money. But man, I love the sport for that reason alone.
What do you think of like one thing that's always bothered me about some sports is when there's multiple leagues of the same thing. Like for example, something like MMA,
Yeah.
when there is Bellator,
Yeah.
and there was at one point Strikeforce and WEC, and there's this and that. There's different leagues around the world for essentially the same sport. And I'm not talking about like necessarily feeder leagues, but ones that like claim themselves to be like the top dogs.
Yeah.
I've always thought you kind of lose me a little bit when you're like, okay, so you're a champ in this. Boxing is the worst for it. There's 15 fucking thousand championship belts. It's like, so what are you? You're WCC, you're WBR, the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, every letter under the alphabet screwed together in a different way. It's a different boxing league.
I think one great thing about MMA and the UFC in general is like they really have kind of consolidated themselves as like they are the best of the best. Like M1 Global, Bellator, Dream, yeah. Is that where Mighty Mouse is now?
I couldn't tell you.
Is it called Dream?
It's called something weird. I know what you're trying to say, but
Misha Tate's the president of it, or like vice president.
really,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Misha Tate, another one of my fucking heroes. God love her.
But what I'm getting at is with MMA, because there's no like, I mean, everyone will say UFC, that's the brand, like that's where to be.
100%.
But then because there are all these other ones that aren't looked at as straight up feeder leagues, it's one of the only major sports on the planet, probably the only major sport on the planet where there's no, like when you're 8 years old and you're a pretty good skater and you have good puck control, I can sit down with you and with just minor hiccups in that plan, I could write down on paper what your path is to playing in the NHL, which the NHL is the hockey league. There's the KHL and there, and you
the
know,
K's the closest.
right, and that's to some extent a fucking feeder league. No one will ever say one of those teams could beat an NHL team.
No.
It just I don't think the best KHL team can beat the worst NHL team. You know, maybe in a single game, but not out of a tournament. But when you're 8 years old or you're 10 years old and you're showing some sort of promise at a sport, whether it's basketball,
Yeah.
fucking racing, if you're good on the go-karts,
There's a defined path.
soccer, I can tell you this is what's going to happen. You're going to do this, then you're going to get into this league. You're going to end up getting a scholarship at this school, and you'll be in this junior league or whatever. And then what happens is there's this thing called a draft where they
you're
pick
good
you.
enough.
You go into their farm team where they groom you to teach you, you know, their systems and their procedures. And then all of a sudden you're on the fucking ice or you're on the field or whatever. Football's the exact same way.
So
There's a cut and dry system. With MMA, there isn't one. You could be the most killer fucking savage, but if you're just at the bingo hall fighting in front of 20 people, until you get the right person to upload the proper YouTube video or make the right phone calls, you're never gonna fucking be anything. Then you're gonna run into problems where there's promoters, like the guy that's promoting the local. We live in Halifax, so let's call it. I don't even know if this is a thing, but like the Halifax Fight Center. Let's say you're an absolute savage. You can knock out anyone in front of you or beat the shit out of them or submit them, whatever the case is. I want you as my draw. I'm the promoter. I'm the one. You're putting seats in here. You're actually like the reason people are buying popcorn and soda and all that shit here. I'm not gonna want to like have you go away because I ain't getting anything out of that. Then I have to deal with freaking Farmer Bob and Lawnmower Joe. Like, I don't want that. So then there's no
So
cut
I
dry
think the
system.
UFC is like they're starting to set that up though, right? Because they have Invicta, which is women's, and they have Legacy FC, which is another like smaller fighting organization. But
What do you think about children getting into it though?
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Like
yeah, man,
if you want this to be your career choice,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You could pick being a hockey player or a football player
I get
when you're 10 years old.
Yeah.
And you could have someone write down on paper step by step what you need to do, and it will come true in those steps.
Yeah, so I think with MMA is fucking weird in that regard because where it's such a mix of styles. Like when you put Israel Adesanya next to Kamaru Usman, it doesn't even look like they're doing the same fucking sport. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like Kamaru is such a wrestling base, and Izzy is just like stand up bang. Um, yeah, no, I do get what you're saying there. It's very weird. Like, yeah, and I think bringing it back even maybe further back than you were first speaking of there, it's like, does an 8-year-old who start Taekwondo, like, do they want to do MMA? Like, do you know what I mean? And is that the right base for them?
And when can you glorify that? Like you can, like they already have wrestling and they already have karate at young ages, but I don't think until you're, fairly high ranked in like karate or taekwondo or kung fu, I think that your growth from that is not against people. It's like chopping the board or having the right technique and
So I
whatnot.
think things have changed. So I a little back information. I grew up doing Taekwondo. So I started Taekwondo when I was like 6, and at that time, so this would have been the mid 90s. We started sparring like very quickly. Like I had children's sparring gear. Like it was tiny little sparring gear I wore, and it was full contact, man. Like fucking let them fly.
No shit.
Yeah, and so that continued. Like I sparred heavy, like starting as hard as 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds could hit each other. Like, man, we were throwing down, and then of course, like we'd have sleepovers and stuff after. Trust me, the fighting did not stop at the dojo. Like,
Yep.
we would go out and at our little sleepovers, like we were still, you get a bunch of boys together who all know how to fight. Like, of course, we're gonna fight each other. And was it ever serious? No. Did it ever get a little bit serious? Of course, because you're young boys. But yeah, and I think it's changed quite a bit though. Like I don't think young kids when they're whether it's boxing or taekwondo or anything in those regards, like kung fu and karate are kind of a thing, but they're like point fighting and
See, I did karate and kung fu
Yeah.
when I was younger, and yeah, in kung fu, I feel like I can't remember exactly, but I feel like I was very young.
Yeah.
We're talking like this was probably 27 to 30 years ago. I did it for just a few years. Like I was
Yeah.
very young, and I feel like the ranking system, instead of them giving you a new belt, you get stripes on your belt. In kung fu at first until you get to like a full color or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember like for me to go from fresh walking in the door to rank 2 or 3 like little green stripes on my white belt
Yeah.
was basically like, can you throw a fist without tucking your thumb in like you do when you're a child?
Yeah.
Can you kick this this punching bag without poking your toes into the bottom of it and breaking your toe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Straighten your toes,
Little
point
things.
your ballet toes and all that.
Yeah.
Can you put together like some sort of combo? Oh, cool. You can do the one step. Here's your fucking first stripe. And then like with karate, to go from I think white you start and then it goes to yellow belt. Basically all you have to do is know how to stand in line like a goddamn soldier, throw 3 kicks and like punch the air 4 times and like understand that, and all of a sudden you got a yellow belt, and then from there to go from yellow to orange is like maybe you're hitting like a couple pads or something like that.
Yeah.
It-
I think with every martial art, it's a little bit different, and maybe that's what's going to make it challenging to really foster young talent. I think the best farm systems right now for new young MMA fighters are collegiate wrestling, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the sport develops.
Because it's still a young sport as MMA. Like
Yeah.
each individual art form
Yeah.
has been around for maybe hundreds, plural, of years.
And we're starting to see our first crop of young fighters who just grew up that MMA was a thing, like Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
And look at him. Like, god damn. Like,
Exactly. You take a guy like that, and it's anyway.
It's fireworks.
It's fucked up. I wish that there was more. I think for any professional sport,
yeah.
that is a physical sport and not something like they call poker and chess a sport.
yeah, I
But
hear ya.
for any real sport, whether it's team based or individual like racing or
Yeah.
MMA, I think that it's interesting how there's not a cut and dry system for this is how you do it.
Yeah.
This is how you do it, and you can just I could have a child, and in 5 years I can train him to be an athlete, whether
Yeah.
he's lifting up the trophy at the end of the season and the best in the world,
right.
or is he just a guy that's on the team? That's a whole nother story. But as long as their skill level can advance to their age level,
Yeah.
then it's easy as pie to get into at least team sports. You know how many people are on a fucking football team,
Yeah, I mean,
and then on a practice squad?
yeah, I think we're just going to see over time, like, MMA is such a young sport, like you just said. It's just going to take time for us to develop, like, farm leagues, how it works, how kids get involved.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's no less safe than football, like, or hockey. Like, those are
If
rough.
anything, I'd
they're
say it's
rough
probably
sports.
safer.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to all be about sparring and training that way. Like, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it all goes. I hope they continue to build like these young development camps for kids, and just train them in like a super safe way and let them like grow to love the sport and be able to do the sport as like an amateur as well with no pressure, like house league hockey or house league soccer, like a way you can compete and enjoy the sport without all the like barriers of needing to be at a certain level. Do you know what I mean? Like being able to go to your local taekwondo tournament or your local kickbox tournament, like same kind of thing. Like have some protection measures in place, maybe limit headshots, and there's a way to make it work. I think.
Boom, headshot.
Headshot.
I think that's fucked up that they never got into doing that too. Having like, so there's movies. Well, there's no MMA movies. Like, I mean, there's not really like there's like the Mighty Ducks for hockey, for example. There's
Yeah.
Air Bud. You know what I mean? There's 10 of them now.
Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans? There's the Big Green. I think it was a soccer one.
Boom! Here comes the boom.
Yes, there's that. The Longest Yard.
No, remember that movie? There
come-
was an MMA movie.
Yes, but I don't watch movies that are that new. I know it's money. It has Paul Blart in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never saw it, but
It's not great.
no, but it's weird. How,
Oh no, there is one really good one, man. Warrior.
is it too realistic though?
No, it's fucking.
Because it's got to be like Mighty Duck style, you know? You get a bunch of.
For kids. Yeah, I get what you're saying. No, this movie is like pretty serious. It's Tom Hardy and can't remember that other actor's name.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but like it's about like real MMA. It's kind of based around the story, like very very loosely, of Brian Stan and Rich Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah, like so one of them is like a school teacher and gets into MMA, blah blah blah. and the
What's
other one's a
Brian
warrior.
Stan doing now? Is he still training football players on how to tackle?
I don't know.
He was at one
man.
point.
That was so crazy. He just fucking straight up left a career. Like he was like an analyst that everybody loved and a commentator that everybody loved, and he was like, "Nah, too
Captain
much
America.
travel. Fuck that."
Team,
I'm
what
outta
was he?
here."
Was that what he called? Mr. America, Captain America? Something they called him
No,
something about that.
Randy Couture is Captain America.
What did they call Brian Stan? He had some nickname anyway. I think I heard after he left his in-ring or his in octagon, his fighting career, once it was either dead or it was dying down, he went to, I feel like it might have been Jacksonville or Tampa, and he was teaching the football players on how to tackle and how to get taken down, something along those lines. Anyway, I thought that was really
Yeah,
interesting.
he was an analyst there for a bit, man.
Yeah,
Like,
he was
in
good. He was a
commentary.
well-educated guy too.
Very well spoken. The All-American.
The All-American,
Brian, the
ah.
All-American Stan. God, and Chael Sonnen's the American gangster.
Yep.
It's good old American boys.
That's one thing that I'd like to see too. Is more sports need to have characters. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you get Chael Sonnen, he's the fucking bad guy Inc. I like the way he talks. He draws in people, and you get so like, who the fuck thought for 1 second he was gonna beat Anderson Silva?
Man,
Nobody
know.
in their heart that watched fights thought he was gonna beat Anderson Silva
I have
either time.
a little bit of trepidation when it comes to characters in MMA. I think sometimes when they're developed, it's weird to say naturally when discussing Chael Sonnen or Conor McGregor, but when they're in a way that feels right, like Conor feels right. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes he's too
Because I don't
much-
think he's faking it. He's just him with the volume turned way up.
Yeah,
And that's what I mean by a
and
character.
that's kind of what Chael is too.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't want to see everybody like that.
No, I think some big personalities make a big difference, and not even in just that sport. Look at Formula One, for example. There's no fucking. They're boring as fuck. You get the like the top 6 guys.
Well, it's a gentleman's sport, right?
Yes,
Same with hockey. Like, you don't have any big personalities in hockey.
not
And
anymore.
same with basketball. Like, what's the biggest personality you ever had? Like fucking Dennis Rodman.
Oh, without question.
Yeah, and I mean like Dennis Rodman compared to like Connor is like a little pussycat. Do you know what I mean?
If Dennis Rodman was still playing for the Pistons or the Bulls today, like let's say he was just in there today instead of early '90s,
Yeah.
and I think maybe the late '80s whenever he came into the league. But let's say a character as outlandish as him was available in today's world when there is things like social media and everyone's got a phone on their in their pocket on their
jail.
with their camera and all that. He would, oh my god, I think that he would be without question maybe the biggest, most well-known person on the planet.
He would be in jail.
You think so?
That
Because
man.
he never, I don't think he was into drugs and stuff.
Yes, I think
I don't, not when he was
very
playing, I don't think he
misbehaved.
was.
Now, I don't think he was. I don't think anybody was gonna like. How do I put this politely? Like he was respectful and everything. Like I don't think he was gonna come up on like sexual assault charges or anything. I don't think there's anything out there like that about him in that regard. But I'm pretty sure there was some pretty prolific drug use. Have you seen that show Last Dance on Netflix?
No.
So it's all about
That's the
'98 Bulls season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
I heard about it, but I never got into seeing it
The
yet.
final season, basically, of Jordan, Rodman, and Pippen.
And Phil Jackson.
And Phil
Their
Jackson.
coach.
Yeah, but there's like there's one point where they talk about Rodman and like that he was fucking wild and yeah, man, I think there was some heavy drug use going on there.
Really, I thought it was more just it was more drinking and all that. I didn't think he got into the hardcore drugs at that point.
Yeah, but
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know
But
the guy.
smoking weed in the United States,
Yeah,
is
I guess
fucking
that was
hardcore drug.
That was especially then.
Yeah, he would have gotten in big trouble, especially with like NBA commission and all that shit. Like those.
God, imagine how much he would party now, though.
Oh, so
Yeah, I think he might be right. He'd be in a jail.
dude, man.
If it wasn't for drugs, I bet he would have been Me Too'd.
Okay, so no, I don't think he would have been Me Too. I don't think he's like that. I think he's a good dude. But okay, so Rodman was dating Madonna back in the day, right?
I thought he was dating Carmen Electra, because that's how I know
did-
who Carmen Electra is. That's
Did
how I
date
heard of
Carmen
her.
Electra. Yeah,
okay.
so he dated Carmen Electra. I think he ended up marrying Carmen Electra.
Sick.
Electra. But Madonna was like his girlfriend in like the early 90s. If Dennis Rodman was a young stud today, what celebrity would Dennis Rodman be dating?
I don't think it would be Gaga.
No.
I'm thinking it'd probably be like Miley Cyrus or Kesha.
Ooh, yes, because it would still be like someone who freaks their freak, right? Like,
Yeah. It'd
they
be
let
someone
their
that's
freak
fucking
flag
weird.
fly. Yeah, yeah.
Or it'd be like so curveball. It'd be like a Taylor Swift. It'd be like someone you wouldn't expect. Maybe even one of
or
those.
like Demi Lovato.
I don't know who
Demi
that is. I know
Lovato,
that name, but I have no idea who
she's
she
the
is.
best. She's so beautiful. Man, she
That's
like
how out of tune I am with pop culture.
dude, Demi Lovato is so fucking
And
bad.
those I know who I can point out the Kardashians, but the Jenner two girls, I don't know who the fuck is who and
Maybe
who.
he'd be with
I
a
don't know what they
Kardashian.
do either. I just know one. Like they're both ridiculous. They're probably some of the most famous humans on the planet right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you who's Kylie and who's Kendall. Don't know who's who. Don't know what they do.
They're wieners, man. They're fucking annoying.
I don't know anything about them.
I don't
Nothing.
really like any of that.
And I
Kardashian
think that's
shit.
the reason I sleep well at night.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Rodman. Actually, Rodman wouldn't be with a Kardashian because he's too fucking cool.
Yep. He would tell them to go fuck themselves.
He'd have to be with like a musician, like a. I think you hit it right on the head, man. He'd probably be with Miley Cyrus.
Oh yeah.
They would just be out being fucking wild.
Is she married?
No, do you know what you? Do you know who the Hemsworths are? Liam and Chris.
I know the names, but again, I couldn't tell you.
So one of them is Thor, in like the Marvel movies.
Yeah, okay.
Thor,
The big rock guy? Or is that Hulk? That's
That's
Hulk.
Hulk.
Fuck.
No, you're thinking of Thing. What is wrong with
Dude,
you?
I don't know. I don't watch movies or anything. I don't know.
So no, Thor is like a god. So he's like has beautiful long blonde hair, and he's the god of thunder.
Okay.
Which is fuck because he shoots lightning. Anyways, so yeah, like he plays Thor. Like these are big, strapping, like handsome young men.
Okay.
So she was with his brother Liam, who looks just like him. But now she's with this dude, and he seriously looks like fucking Johnny Rotten. Like it's insane. My guy looks like he's straight out of the fucking Sex
Did I ever tell you about the time that I met Johnny Rotten
No.
in real life? When I say meet, hold on. There was no
I
handshake.
got that right? Johnny Rotten's Sex Pistols.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
John Lydon is his real name. Yeah. Johnny Rotten. I when I say meet, it wasn't, we had an interaction. There was no handshake or photo. This was also at a time where, I'm not even sure there was flip phones that had a camera on them. Like this was like cell phones existed and all that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there was even like a Motorola Razor yet. Like this was that long ago.
Yeah.
And anyway, the Sex Pistols were having a concert in Toronto
Yeah.
that I was going to. This was long hours before the concert. I was just hanging out with some other punk friends of mine, sitting on a sidewalk in downtown Toronto. Just we weren't like panhandling or anything fucking stupid.
Yeah.
We were literally just taking a load off, and there was no bench. We were sitting on we were leaning up against the wall, like sitting on the ground. Some of us were standing, whatever. And this guy was walking by, and he had blue and red hair, like super well dyed. He was an older, like looked like a punker, and we all were too. You know what I mean? And one of my friends asked him for a cigarette. Didn't know none of us knew who he was. Like this was before when it came to famous people, unless they were on TV or on movies
really
every day,
know.
you didn't really know who the fuck they were, what they looked like, musicians and stuff. You never, like if there was pictures of them in their like CD booklets and whatnot,
Yeah.
that's how you know who they looked like. There was no Wikipedias and YouTube or
you ain't
YouTube. You know what I
Googling.
mean? You didn't really know it. Anyway, so long story short, we see this guy. One of my friends asked him for a cigarette or a lighter or whatever, something along those lines, because we figured he'd talk to us and not just fucking think we were street kids or something silly.
Yeah.
And anyway, the guy says something. He says, "So what the fuck are you wankers doing?" And he had a British accent and or a Cockney accent, whatever you want to call it. And I'm kind of thinking like to myself, Jesus Christ, like this guy he's like the quintessential punk. I'm like looking at this guy who's wearing like a leather coat with like plaid
idolizing
plaid like patches on it and like safety pins all over it, and like
Yeah.
and he looked like a fucking like a bum. He was all alone too, which is
Yeah.
fucking crazy to think. Anyway, I remember what he looked like. I'm just thinking this guy's got the British accent. He just sounds so punk. I'm like, that guy's like fucking Johnny Rotten or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, what are the odds of that? Anyway, I can't remember what we said or anything like that, because it wasn't well enough to stick out in my mind. But he called us fucking wankers for sitting on the side of the road. Anyway, he gave my friend the light. Anyway, he goes on. Hours and hours go by. We go to the Sex Pistols concert, which was at an amphitheater there, like an outdoor concert. Sex Pistols come on. This is Sid Vicious, had been dead for fucking 20 years at that point.
Yeah.
But so it was with some other bass player. But they're playing, and when they come out, I'm like, that's the fucking guy. I'm like, that's the fucking guy right there. That's the same guy. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's in the Sex Pistols. And then he starts singing. I'm like, it's fucking Johnny Rotten. I'm like, are you fucking with me? I had a chance to like meet Johnny Rotten, who was like,
Could have been your friend.
I don't know if it would have ever escalated that far. And like I said, there was no cameras at the time. Like I didn't know it was him. I didn't have a Sharpie on me for a fucking autograph, which is what you got instead of a selfie back then, right? Like none of that would have happened. But it would have been like maybe there would have been a conversation. Maybe there would have been like, hey, do you want to come backstage? Do you want to like fucking help haul amps or the PA onto the stage or anything like that?
Became a roadie.
Totally could have happened. Like I was an adult at the time. When I say an adult, I was 17 or 18. So like I could have easily ran away from home and went on tour with the Sex Pistols. But I mean, I don't know how easy that was. But anyway, how fucked is that to know that Johnny Rotten, who nowadays is like an actual nobody, is he even alive? I don't fucking know. But he's an actual nobody now. But at the time when punk rock made its resurgence in the early 2000s, and it wasn't just like Blink 182 and Sum 41, like when punk rock, like dyed hair and fucking like dirty clothes and all that, like punk rock, when it started making its little resurgence and all that, everyone he was God. Like there was the Ramones and there was the Sex Pistols. Those are the two bands that started punk rock. For as far as everyone was concerned, and he was the lead singer of the fucking Sex Pistols, walking alone in downtown Toronto hours before a concert, and he randomly crosses paths with me, who was a big fan of his at the time. And I just had no clue what he would look like. I knew what he looked like when God Save the Queen came out, and Nevermind the Bollocks album was released and everything. I knew what he looked like then, but I didn't know what he looked like at 50 years old or whatever that he would have been at this point in time in 2000.
It's so strange.
Or 2001.
Like Google has taken away any mystique. Do you know what I mean? From And there's certain people we're just always gonna know what they're gonna look like. If fucking Cheeto had Donald Trump walk down the street, you'd be like, it's Donald Trump. Like, and there's certain people that are just on such a stratospheric level of notoriety and fame that you're always gonna know what they look like. But that exact situation, man, like, and still, I don't know. Like, if someone, I guess we all know what they look like now. We see them on interviews, we see them on YouTube, we see them everywhere. Like, if you're interested in somebody, you know what they look like.
If someone that you what if someone walked by you, that you
What was that?
316. If someone walked by you that you know what they look like,
Yeah.
but you're not actively looking for them, and they're not being flocked by paparazzi or fans.
Like, there's no other way to tell that they're a famous person.
Right, and you're just minding your own business. You're walking down the sidewalk. You're walking through a shopping center or whatever the case is, and you're on a mission. You're going to the food court to grab a bite to eat, and you walk by this guy that just happened to walk out of the Apple store, something that's on the way. Let's say just a random store, and it's or a woman, and she's unbelievably famous, but she's not being swarmed at the time. She doesn't have a huge entourage with her, and maybe not dressed to the nines, male or female way.
Yeah, they're just like casual.
Right, and you don't happen to look them in their face. You just kind of acknowledge, oh, this is a person. Let's not bump shoulders. I'm gonna walk this far away. Would you
Social distancing?
Yes. Would you recognize them immediately?
No.
If I don't think I would either. Like, there's don't get me wrong. I'm one of those people. I've always said that as soon as I see someone, I attribute them to someone else that I've seen right away. So like if you look like, I don't know, just a quick example. Like let's say I see a guy walking in a trench coat and a fedora.
Yeah.
If you've got a long face, you're Inspector Gadget. That's who you are to me. Okay, I can glue two and two together very quickly that you look like someone or you look like this character or whatever. But if I'm walking through the mall and I don't know, who's someone famous, Justin Bieber. If he were to walk past me, I wouldn't have a fucking clue. If I was thinking of Justin Bieber somehow, then I'd be like, holy fuck, that guy kind of looked like Bieber. Then I'd recognize him. But like that fame only lasts so long for people. Like look at a guy like Adam Sandler, the most normal looking fucking raisin-headed person on the planet, you know? Even though I'm a huge Sandler fan, I could walk by him in 10 minutes and not know the fucking difference. If I'm not looking at his face, I'm just like kind of looking at my phone, texting and walking, but I look up just to acknowledge that there's a person here. Yeah. But then like afterwards, after I've walked past him, you can't suddenly be like, holy shit, that's Adam Sandler and run past him. No. You know what I mean? Like it maybe the fucking Neanderthal knuckle draggers out there would do that to get a pic with him or whatever. But I would respect their privacy enough. If I walked by Bruce Willis, I wouldn't fucking recognize
somewhere. I think the United States. I think Vegas.
It was, and you saw the referee.
Yeah,
I remember you telling me that.
I'm chilling in Pearson Airport in Ontario, and sitting there with Stephanie, and like just looking at my phone, and then this fucking mammoth human being goes and sits down, and like we're talking fucking meathead size, right? So he sits down, and geez, I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, how do I know this guy? So first, like automatically, I didn't think anybody famous. I was like, I've recognized this face. I must know this man. Because how often do you really see like famous people just caught in the wild?
Not that often.
That? Yeah.
At least not in our lives and where we live in the world. Maybe if you lived in a hub. If you lived in like a massive metropolitan city, especially like New York or LA or something, then maybe more. But anyway.
Yeah, so I was sitting there, I'm like looking at him, and I'm like, man, who the fuck is this guy? And then finally it dawns on me that the night before, so this was a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, and the night before there had been UFC in Calgary. And Dan Murgulata, I believe, lives somewhere in the United States. Maybe he was going to Nevada as well. I'm not quite sure. He was in a similar waiting area to me. But he must have been traveling from Calgary there, and I kind of pieced it all together. I'd watch UFC the night before, blah, 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 blah. It was fucking Dan Murgulata. But, again, you want to respect the privacy, man. Like, I didn't want to approach him. I didn't want to be rude. Like, I'm sure he's just, like, anybody at the airport. He's like, fuck me. I got to sit here and wait for this goddamn flight. And, like, you know, you're just bored and you probably don't want to be, like, bothered or anything like that. You're just trying to chill. But, yeah, like, you don't always have that instant recognition of who somebody is.
Yep.
And it's like so weird, man. Like, and then all of a sudden it just clicks and you're like, oh my God.
Have you ever run into anyone famous in that wasn't like at a prearranged like meetup or like a meet and greet or like an event of some sort?
Yeah.
Have you ever ran like just, oh my God, this is there's someone like that's very well known right there.
Yeah. It literally happened with you. So myself and Johnny.
Oh my God, dude, I forgot about this. Holy shit. I could add that to the list of people that I choked and never said hello to.
yeah. So me and Johnny went to Moncton to see UFC. I think as people will find out, like we're pretty big fans, like we're pretty hardcore fans. We really love it, and any opportunity to see it live, we obviously want to jump at. It's only like a 2.5 hour drive.
Yep.
So we got a hotel and we went up there, and we also like to eat, and so there's a great restaurant, Tide and Boar. So we went out there to grab some supper before fights, and we were just like chilling, having beers, and then. Yeah, man, who realized it was him? Was it you or me?
It was me.
Yeah.
Because your back was to
the door.
To the door. And we got the last table in the place. So we were in those fucking stupid tables that are like damn near right in front of the door. Like when you walk in, like you trip over that table.
Yeah,
That's
and it was a
where we
date
were
night
seated.
table. We were at like a 2-person table.
It was.
It was romantic.
So I'm facing out the door. And it was weird because I wasn't gluing together who it was because he was, dressed down. But it was the whole crowd that he was with because he was with his whole team.
He was in like his Reebok gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why are these guys all dressed like this? Like fucking. And then I realized I'm like, holy shit. Anyway, that's when I'm like, did I kick you under the table or did I try whispering? Because I didn't want them to like get known that I'm talking
he was,
about them.
Behind me.
Yeah. He was breathing on your fucking hair.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I can't remember how exactly you alerted me, but it was fucking Anthony Smith, like the goddamn headliner. And what a heroic headliner it was, man. Like he went on and put on a fucking show against Ozdemir. Like had a tough few rounds, man. It came back and got the rear naked choke on it. But yeah, it was super cool. But yeah, that was just a situation where we casually ran into somebody. And one thing, like Moncton's not a big town. So the majority of people out for dinner that night were people going to UFC that night.
Yep.
And the whole restaurant was so fucking cool about it.
I don't even know how many, because I kind of gave a little look around and I didn't see anyone else like talking to him or like trying to get their other friends' attention. Like, holy fuck, look.
That's because they all thought you were Anthony Smith.
It's weird. I did get a couple looks and I don't look anything like him. I have a bald head. That's the only
The
similarity.
glasses too, right?
Oh, yeah. I guess that'll do her.
Yeah.
But that was fucked. That was I've only ever run into famous people in public a couple of times, and I can say decisively 0 of those times I ever started a conversation with them to acknowledge that I am also a fan of some sort or that I know who they are and like keep up the good work. Like nothing. There's been no words exchanged. There's not a little smile and a nod. There was just fucking nothing.
Just see them.
Yeah, I want to say, and maybe just a few times that's ever happened to me. There was the Johnny Rotten thing.
Yeah.
Which, fuck, I didn't know it was him. So until hours later. So that I don't even know if that would count because, I didn't have the chance to fanboy or chicken out. It was just a fucking guy.
It is what it is. Yeah. I've
Did I ever tell you about the time I met Avril Lavigne? No.
Wait, the real Avril Lavigne or the
Yeah. Before she died and this other thing came along.
Okay. Tell me the
So
story.
she was at a cabin. I'm gonna leave certain details of this story out just for the sake of her and me. But so nothing ever happened between us. I'm not getting in that direction. Yeah. Oh no, she's the queen of Canada. I would definitely. She's on my freaking hall pass list. But but if so one of my friends in high school when I lived in the Muskoka area in Ontario, his older brother was dating her or one of her friends, something like that, and they were at this cabin. And this was when Complicated was her first single that came out.
Oh,
okay.
Jam.
And so that was out, but that didn't blow her up.
I made out the first girl I ever made out with. That song was playing. Go ahead.
Fuck, that's sick.
Oh,
I wish
dude.
I had a story like that.
Great.
But she was there for some reason and at this cabin. And so we all went to this cabin that's on a lake and it's a party sort of thing. So she was there. Complicated had come out. it wasn't her biggest single. It was her first one, just to kind of like throw her name out there, sort of deal.
Yeah.
But Skater Boy was on the album, but that single, that music video, and whatnot, it hadn't been released yet. It wasn't out, and that's the one that threw her into superstardom.
Yeah.
Okay, that is Complicated was out. People knew her and all this, and she was getting opportunities. But anyway, I walk in. I did know who she was because every day or every Friday after school, I used to like putting on Much Music and watching the countdown.
Yeah.
Remember the fucking countdown?
Who fucking didn't? Bro?
Exactly. So I was at that age when I was like 16, 15 or something like that
Yeah.
at the time. So I knew who she was, but I didn't know who she was. Like I recognized him like, okay, I know who this is, but like I never heard of her
She's
before.
super short in real life.
I don't know. I could guess and say maybe 5'4", 5'5".
Okay, that's not that.
I don't know. I mean, this was a long while back. But anyway, so we walk in and there she is. And we're all drinking and whatnot at a very young age for drinking and partying. And anyway, there she is. And we all partied together. She was a cool chick. And that was that. Life went on. And I never realized that how famous she actually was or was about to become at the time.
Was she married to Chad Kroger at some point?
Yeah, relatively recently.
Dude, that's so
Like in the past handful of years.
that's so weird. He's such a weird dude.
Fuck. It's
Back
amazing
in
how
there, though.
big Nickelback actually is of a band.
Dude,
Considering they are a walking meme about how
Do they
nobody likes them.
still release new music, or is that done?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I really couldn't. I couldn't fucking tell you what they do.
They were huge.
They were huge. I wonder what I think their biggest downfall was that they were Canadian. Because like you got to look at Creed, huge band. Theory of a Dead Man, they
Yeah.
had their moments too. But were they Canadian too? Maybe I don't
Theory
know.
of a Dead Man Canadian, yeah.
Theory of a Dead, they're Canadian.
Not only that, they were made famous by Nickelback.
Yeah, and then there was Theory of a Nickel Creed. There was all. If you didn't know the song, you didn't know who the fuck you're listening to. Theory of a Nickel Creed.
Yeah,
That was,
it's
they all sounded the same.
I think it was just like such hard cock rock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is why it gets more hate than anything. Like,
every bar or tavern.
dude, you can you can so easily imagine the dudes who get stoked on Nickelback. Do you know what I mean?
I've never met one.
Oh,
The thing is, I
bro.
can't say a bad thing about them.
They're like
I've
the
never hated
douchiest
them.
humans.
I've never disliked them. I've never thought anything bad about them at all. I've just like, yeah, like they have. Nickelback has some songs that I will fucking jam out to all the time. Like just a
I'm
few,
not
like
gonna
their
lie.
famous ones. Like I don't know. I don't even know what to call it.
When Remind Me comes on.
I don't even know how that one goes. I don't know the names of the
This is
song.
how you remind
Oh,
me.
yeah. That's Nickelback?
Yeah. When
I didn't know
comes
that. I
on,
thought
I'm
that was
fucking
Creed.
into it. I thought it was Theory of a Dead Man.
No, dude, I know Rockstar. Is that the name of the song?
Yeah,
I just want to be
I
a big
think-
rock star.
Yeah.
Something about bleach blonde hair and her
Yeah. The
boobies are
one-
big. But
So I used to like hang out with a crew of like, so I went through this period where I was like, single and had my own place and all that shit. And I was hanging out with these dudes that just like to like drink and party and stuff all the time. And man, every fucking night, like right before the fucking cabs got there to go downtown, they'd put on that song like, "We're going out tonight." Dun, 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 dun. And oh fuck, man, the boys used to get so rowdy. It was like the douchiest thing ever. Ever. And then we'd go to a bar, and guess what? We would all just stand at a table and drink and not talk to women. And it was like, oh, douchey bros, doesn't work out.
dude, me and a friend, we used to go to the bars, and not nice bars where you would pick up like, not generally where you would go to pick up chicks. It's where you would go to be groups of friends. You'd watch live music, play pool, maybe get some wings and beers into you.
Oasis.
Yeah. Places like dive bars that don't draw in females other than Friday or Saturday nights, and they're only going there
With their boyfriends.
pretty well, or their entire groups of friends, whatever the case is, because
Yeah.
their boyfriend's there. Yeah. It's never a place where girls would go just to be together or to get picked up by guys. Anyway.
To meet fellas.
Yeah. It's super dive bar sort of place.
Sure.
Anyway, me and a friend, knowing that it was generally the less attractive females that would end up at places like that.
Yeah.
Me and a friend, we used to just like going there. We used to try to make bets with each other to pick up girls
Yeah.
that you don't actually want to go home with, or that you don't really, that's super douchebaggy and rude to say, but it's fucking college, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we used to give each other pickup lines, and like you have to say this to that girl to pick her to like as your introduction, instead of walking up and be like, "Hi, I'm Ryan. Can I buy you a drink?" Nothing or whatever.
Nothing polite.
No. It's like, this is what you have to say. Go say it, and then to that girl right there, or whatever.
Hey, dude, sometimes maybe romance could blossom from that. You don't know.
Well, the funny thing is, I was given the line one time of saying to someone, "You look like you could lose 10 pounds." That's what I had to say to someone at one of these fucking bars. And it was to a girl who she clearly was not wearing a speck of makeup.
Yeah.
Okay? She wasn't dressed very well, but you could tell that there was potential there. Like she could actually be very pretty.
Yeah.
And she definitely, I don't think, needed to lose 10 pounds. Like yeah, maybe she wasn't a fucking fitness model, but she was definitely, I don't think a single person in the room would have even called her chubby or pre-fat.
Yeah.
You know when you have like a choice? Like when you're pre-fat?
Oh,
like, especially
living that quarantine life.
yeah, but men, we have dad bods, and that's like the hot thing.
Yeah.
So, but women, they get this thing called pre-fat,
Yeah.
where, hold on, 1 or 2 extra fucking bites here, and you're going this direction, or maybe not bites, but
Yeah.
you don't take care of yourself just for a week, and
Yeah.
you're chubby. You're not fat, you're chubby.
Yeah.
But you're pre-fat. But then at the same time, if you did like intermittent fasting for a week, all of a sudden you're fit.
jacked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was in that pre-fat stage, let's call it. So I had to walk up to her and say, "You look like you could lose 10 pounds." And I fucking did it. I shit you not. Not a, "Hi, I'm Ryan," not a, "My friend's making me say this." Like nothing. Just, "Hey, you look like you could lose 10 pounds. My name's Ryan." That's how that went.
How did the rest of the conversation go?
She fucking died laughing because she hadn't. I didn't know her, but she had enough confidence to know she didn't think she needed to lose 10 pounds. What the fuck are the odds that some guy who's drunk, googly-eyed, walks up and says, "You look like you could lose 10 pounds" at a bar where girls don't get picked up? Like, it was just the most absurd thing that everything was strung together that we actually became friends. Like,
No.
the conversation exchanged numbers and whatnot to be the point of like some sort of maybe romance down the line. None of that ever blossomed, and like I didn't want that either. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't attracted enough to her personality to want that around me that often.
Yeah.
But I was attracted enough to her personality that you can be a friend and we can hang out here and there.
Yeah.
Not even friends with benefits. I'm just saying like friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, still to this
Like
day,
another homie.
we're still good friends. We were texting last night, and that's how we fucking met.
That's
Straight-
so funny.
And it's funny because afterwards, she still to this day, she's never lost that pre-fat. Like, she's on the fucking brink where she can go one way or the
Just
other.
living it.
Right, and it's not just like her body type. It's like it's just
But
she's
isn't
been
that
lucky
on
where
the edge you want to live,
probably
because you still get to enjoy all the food that you want.
yeah, which she definitely does.
Yeah.
And I do too. So there's nothing wrong with all those
You're not
pre-fats out there.
You're not fat. You're not like you're just. Maybe that is the key to happiness in life.
Being pre-fat.
Being pre-fat.
I personally, it's my favorite type of person for not only myself in a sexual interest, but yeah, because it's like fuck, cool. No, I don't have to
Do
try
you
to
want
live up to
matzo
a certain
sticks?
standard.
I want matzo sticks.
Dude, always want matzo sticks.
Everybody wants matzo sticks. Yeah. And speaking of matzo sticks, I'm super fucking hungry.
Dude, I'm fucking hungry as shit. Anyway, it's been an hour and 49 minutes. I thought that was an introduction.
Yeah,
we,
man.
we just call
That
it
was a
right
good
there.
start.
I'm
Yeah,
fucking-
yeah. This is sick. So we'll do another one. We're gonna do one Saturday night.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch UFC 249. We're gonna react. It's the first time we've watched UFC in so long, and the last one
It feels like it's been longer than
we
it has
didn't
to.
even watch the last one together. We didn't watch Brasilia together.
No, that one
Watch
was
that
was fucked up. That was that one that
Was that
was
a weird
quarantine
time, I
first
think?
started happening, but it didn't happen. They had an actual
there was no
like an
audience.
arena, like a full blown arena.
Yep.
You could fit 20,000 people or something,
There was no audience.
and there was nothing.
Yep.
And they pulled it off. I thought it was fine. Like I think that it's the last thing on that topic. I think that to make a very quiet sporting event like that just a touch better, I wonder if some sort of background music, but not loud enough, not even as loud as walkout music, but just something that there's some elegant, like not elevator music. It's got to be like hyped.
Disagree. Let me
No?
hear them smacks.
Yeah, but you'd still hear that anyway because the microphones that are above the octagon.
No. It'd be weird. It'd be weird for sure. It'd be weird.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
No,
I'd have to hear it before I.
definitely be weird.
I'd have to hear it before I.
Go
Because
play
when you're watching a
UFC on
highlight
PlayStation,
video,
listen to music. It'd be strange.
what if you watch like a highlight compilation? They have music playing. It's not louder than when you can still hear
different
Rogan
though,
going,
like-
"Oh my god," or Goldberg going, "And it's all
like-
over." When you hear that piped in,
Nah. I think it's like because the music then is attributing to a mood, like it's attributing to a hype. Like there's no ebb and flow of like a real fight. Like a highlight reel is different, right? You're timing it.
yeah,
So no, I disagree. I don't think there should be.
I'd like to see it sometime.
No.
Maybe with one of the prelims or something, and then
Just test it out on those
just test it.
animals.
Just test it once. Let me give you my feedback live, and then determine because I'm the guy. Me of all the
We're in the control room.
7+ billion people on the earth, I'm the guy that gets to make this decision.
Man, I hope this event does well. I hope lots of people tune in and watch it. I'm excited for this weekend. We're gonna get to watch some fights. We're gonna eat some pizza,
Fuck yes,
some garlic dip.
nice. While the building's being blown up across the street, I guess we'll call it there. We'll put another episode that'll be live for next week, and
Are we going live on Saturday?
we'll not like live streaming, but we'll record something. Why
Oh
the fuck not?
yeah.
And then maybe something
We'll go
midweek.
live. We'll go live in the future, maybe, because we're still unpredictable at this point. We don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah,
We have jobs.
yeah, that's true. We do have lives.
Yeah.
I mean, not really.
We
But
have to make sure we don't get in trouble.
I have no structure in my life right now. I have no fucking structure right now. Anyway,
Thank you.
thanks. See ya.
Bye.